Alright, so I'm going to pick back up for a bit before I call it a day and ink that panel that I did a video of the pencils to earlier. So let's toss an empty layer in here and grab my trusty pen. I have hotkeys set up for just about everything so that most of the time I don't have to really think about a lot of stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and ink my foreground elements, and let's bring my pen size down just a little bit, but not too far down because this is stuff in the foreground, so I want to keep it, kind of bold. And I'm going to ink a lot of hold lines here and some of the little stuff that I know is kind of on the outside. So let's work that stuff in. I like to keep my page zoomed in to a size that I'm comfortable is pretty close to what I'd be like physically looking at if I were inking on paper. And I made a little mislick right there. There we go. So, as is often the case while inking, I'm going to refine little things as I go. That's part of the fun part of inking. Okay. So I have a panel set up for this up here, so let's just I think I want to delete that. I know that I definitely want all of this inside there. So now, come on, where'd it go? There we go. Now it's inside the panel borders. Yay! Okay. So I tend to kind of look for the big bold shapes inside all the stuff that I penciled. And I'll block in quite a bit of that, like so. And I'm going to draw on out past the panel there. That way I know I've got a hold line going out around that, so that when I want to fill this later, that'll be closed in and will work. Okay. So now that I want to close that, I just take my paint bucket, and there it goes. Okay. And fill that. And we're going to fill that and that. And then work my way back up here. I like to come back through some white stuff here and there. And then we want a few little tick marks. Alright. And I'm going to fill that. Now then, swing around. I tend to I like to try to keep my strokes so that they pull. So I arc my hand like that, so that I hit and then pull toward me. Right. Let's throw some of this stuff on here. And yeah, it's really a pretty quiet process. I mean, I'll try to talk during videos. Mostly because I actually kind of get bored with videos that have a lot of music in them when it's comic related stuff. You know, yeah, sound bed can be cool. I've got plenty of music here that I could use for that, but pardon me. I feel like I'd rather have a conversation about it, you know, and just talk about this stuff a little bit. So, like here, I'm just kind of building up values as I go, working with these lines to build those values. Remember, everything you do with lines is actually building grays. So the tighter the lines, the closer they are to black, the darker the gray you're creating those lines. So, and then the kind of blotchy shapes out there just give things form. So you have to kind of be conscious of where all that's headed. Okay, I'm going to look away for just a second because, as is often the case, while I'm working on the comics, I have 3D stuff going on another machine. So quite often I have to look away and check on renders and other processes and things going on. Part of why I want to do the Kickstarter for this is I'd like to be able to have some revenue associated with it that will help guarantee that I can actually, you know, block some production time just for finishing this project. That way I don't, oh, pardon me, I bumped the mic. That way I don't have to, you know, take the time away and be distracted at times and all that kind of stuff. It's one of the big reasons that I really want to get this thing funded and off the ground. I mean, every artist should be confident in their work. So if I say, yeah, I believe in the artwork, I actually feel like that's kind of a cheap thing to say, you know. But but the flip side of that is I really do believe in the artwork. I believe in the story, you know, is something really worthwhile. Or I wouldn't have would have put all the time into it that I have so far and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, and that being the case, it's something I do believe in. It's, you know, that I think is really worthwhile. I think a lot of people will really enjoy this. You know, it's really important to me that we get this thing up and running finally in a really, you know, much more effective and meaningful way, and Kickstarter is kind of the way to do that, I think. Okay. I like to come back in every once in a while with some white, just to help kind of pop some forms out. Okay. is a character named Abraham. He has very rough-hewn hands. The guy's been through a lot. Of course, if you want to find out what all he's been through, help fund the book, help promote the Kickstarter, maybe contribute, all that kind of stuff. But, he's a character I'm really fond of. He's kind of loosely based on a couple of guys who are really important in my life. And really, in a lot of ways, most everything in Apocalypse Girl in some way or another is actually based on people and ideas out of my own life. And I don't know, there's something kind of cool about that, I think. Makes it personal, makes me more attached to it, want to work on it more, and makes it I think makes it more authentic, genuine sort of story for people. You know, you can use this sort of fantastic science fiction stuff to kind of work out things that maybe bother you personally, and or work out ideas that you wrestle with, and then turn them into something that becomes a piece of entertainment that other folks can enjoy. And I don't know, that's just cool. So here's where I'm doing something kind of, I think is kind of cool. I penciled in the pattern for these ropes, but I'm not actually going to ink all the pattern. I'm just going to kind of pick certain spots of that so that it so that once those pencils go away out from under it, it's you know, it's not so literal. But then I'll come back through, and I really want to see the roughness of this stuff. Okay. So here we go. Keep on trucking with that, really. I mean, it's kind of the thing. You just get the groove going, you know. Get that groove going and sling them details, folks. That's the fun part. So. Keep a nice hold line around all that. Stays good and bold. And here, I'm not going to worry too much about how clean I am with those lines, because a lot of this is going to have, you know, some of those strandy little ticks added to it. And then other parts are going to have some white tapped in. I like doing these kind of close-ups that give a lot of texture into things, especially in a world that's as gritty, literally a gritty sort of world. Like in the one of the things that's talked about in the narrative is the ash and dust in the atmosphere, and how it's just everything's grimy and dirty and just generally sucks. going kind of heavy right there. Come in with some white and knock the shape of these fingers out just a little bit. So he's using both hands to pull this stuff up out of the water, the wharf there. There we go. Alright, so there's a pretty good section of that panel. I'm going to go ahead and call this one quits for now. I have some stuff to check on over on the 3D side of the studio. But, makes for a nice quick video, and I'll be posting this, and hope you folks share it. If you dig it, remember, share everything, share the stuff. It's YouTube, YouTube/Sixus1 Media, Facebook.com/Sixus1 Media, Les Garner Artist on Facebook, or Apocalypse Girl on Facebook. And the project is Apocalypse Girl, and keep an eye out for announcements regarding the Kickstarter. I do believe we're planning on finally getting this thing off the ground in February. That's the tentative date right now. It could be subject to change, but quick shout out to my buddy Pete, Peter Palmiotti, cool dude with a lot of industry experience, who's helping me get some of this stuff off the ground. And let's see, and hello to Ben Charles Jones, gentleman, part of one of the groups that I'm involved in with Peter. And let's see, there's Ben and Peter and Pippa and Mike and Dom. There's a bunch of cool people out there. So if you guys are watching this, hi to you guys. And yeah, everybody, hope you check it out, share it, like it, all that kind of groovy stuff. So anyway, until next time, catch you later.